Hey, what's up guys, Brett Maverick here. I've been asked since I showed this thing like 5-6 months ago, have I used it or am I going to use it, whatever. I get asked questions about it, and so I figured I'd do a little update on it. Don't mind the mess in the background, but there's the gauges up there. There's the pump. I talked to Giddy Up. Giddy Up is one of the first persons to make, put on the market a closed loop a non-passive system. Like, the Temesium extractor, everybody calls closed units Temesium extractors, even though that's a brand. You don't go up to somebody with a car and go, is that a Ferrari? Or better yet, you don't go up to him and go, is that a Pinto? Because that's a model, but everyone seems to think that closed loop systems are called Temesium extractors just because David McGee and his fucking Temesium company. So yeah, but Giddy Up came up with the design where you have, it's called Emotech Labs, and you also, if you watch High Country, that documentary, you see a dude who's actually kind of like an Emotech Lab rival who has that ETS Labs, and they have a very cheap pump. It's like an 80s version of this pump. It's this system. It's this exact same system on a cart with a cheaper pump, and they charge 19 grand for that motherfucker. Now Giddy Up's, his has, it like comes apart and everything. You can take it apart mid extraction. You could, dude, there's so much different things you can do with that, and it's only 6 grand more than that, dudes. This one, like including the pump, is I think 3,500 or 3 grand. I can't remember. Yeah, I don't want to really get into it, but yeah, it's Bogart Extraction Devices. I'm sure he'll leave a comment on here, or you can get a, you go to their website or their Facebook. I don't exactly remember how to get in touch with him. I just call him, but yeah, maybe he'll call me in his phone number. I don't know, but yeah, they're sick-ass systems. It closes up here. This comes apart. There's an O-ring in there. Down here, you've got O-rings at the bottom here and the top here. Now, what is the difference between this and like all the other systems I've seen, even like the Mad Dabber one and everything? Your bottom, this is called your solvent tank. It's where your oil ends up. You actually, when you take this apart, it's 3 pieces. You don't got to reach in there and scoop your shit out or pour it out. It comes apart and you've got your oil on this platter. It's there. You can peel it off, scrape it off, whatever. When you're finished, when you're done with the extraction, the end product in here, before you go vac purge it, it's not ready, it's not done being vac purged, but it's gotten to 22, between 19 to 22 inches of mercury while it's in here. So it is a muffin. It's a stable vac muffin. You pull it out, it's stable. It's, you can touch it. It's not like it comes out slime or full of butane or anything. It's pretty purged when it comes out. But let me go over how this system kind of works. I actually talked with the manufacturer because there was a different kind of valve system off this recovery tank, and what ended up happening was I had put it all together and then it wasn't making a seal, and one dude had said you need plumber's tape, whatever, and then I was thinking, what if there's like, whether not the nylon, but what if there's like some manufacturer lubricants or something on plumber's tape that would be extracted by butane, because I mean, plumber's tape isn't designed to make medicine with, so I was kind of worried that the plumber's tape might have something on it that might contaminate my oil or whatever. I didn't want to fuck with that. So I did have 2 of these, and these were things I was using at vac purging. I had it before the line so I can seal off my chamber, but now that I took the thing off of there, I actually have, it was one of these, only steel, not copper. So I have another one of these I can just throw on the other side now, and I don't have to use this thing. But back to what I was talking about. So I took that, he told me to take that off because this thing has a rubber grommet in here. So when I screwed it on, it was a nice seal straight to the recovery tank. The recovery tank's upside down right now, as if I was, finishing up my run or putting butane in it. So after that, it comes, here's this, which seals off the recovery tank from the whole system. Here's this valve, which seals off the whole system from the recovery tank. And then here's what's called a purge port, is what he refers to it as. And all it is to me is just a valve stem port, just like your car tire. And then right here you can also seal this off from the whole vacuum pump, which you've got right here. So initially what you'll do, first I'm going to show you, the direction this thing goes. You go up this line, this is for your butane, goes up, it would go up through here. You would have this side either sealed or not sealed because the pump's actually running and creating a circular motion like this. But this would be flipped over on the stand. possibly even elevated. He said for me, you know, to do some experiments elevating it and not, because I asked. I noticed a lot of systems that the tank is actually up above the column during the extraction. But with this pump, you know, you're not actually heating the tank and cooling the solvent tank. You're actually, what's creating the extraction is not heat and cold making pressure and vacuum. You actually have this bad boy right here moving the butane, moving the air and the butane in that fashion. Actually, there's not really much air. I mean, well, there's air, there's not oxygen, but this pump pumps gas, not liquid, so I keep that in mind. But yeah, so you have it, open it, you do, you know, your 2 pounds of butane, which is about 5 cans, runs down, yeah, 5 cans for a pound. Keep listening, you'll see how that works. It comes through here, and no, I'll be probably using Intane. I'm gonna fill it up with cans, of course, first, and do some dry runs, but if I feel like I'm gonna make smokable product with it, I will be using N-butane with CP propane. CP N-butane, which is 99.8% pure. It's chemically pure, natural butane. If I can get isobutane, I'll use some of that. Then CP, chemically pure N-propane, the number 3 chemically pure. I don't know how many percent pure that is, but I'll mix. I'll do, like, you know, ½ pound propane, 2.5 pounds Intane. And I do have a digital scale that weighs in grams all the way up to like 5,000 grams to set this on. I haven't opened it yet. I don't use it for weed, obviously. It doesn't go down to the tenths. But yeah, right here. So we've got our gauges. Someone had mentioned, you know, these gauges aren't good for measuring vacuum or pressure, whatever. I should get a digital meter. That's not really the point. It's not to know exactly where you're at. It's to know if you're at a vacuum or at pressure. I mean, of course, you can use the measurements. I mean, but the fact that it's down to the micron doesn't matter. You know, you're measuring in increments of PSI over here, same thing over here, and then you've got your inches of mercury down here. It doesn't really matter how accurate you are. I mean, you pump it to a full vacuum at the beginning, but the way I know I'm to a full vacuum is this sound. Oh, one sec, let me get you on here. I'm going to actually show you the way the butane goes like I was. Up this yellow line, down this blue line, down the weed, up to 500 grams in this column. On the inside here, you just got an end of this that sticks out. You put a hose clamp on it with a screen and coffee filters, just like a regular tube. At the end of this, it's just like a regular tube. So the butane goes through, blasts out, and lands down in here, okay? Now that it lands down in here, you've got negative pressure because of this. Not only do you have negative pressure, it's also gonna be above 30 degrees. So the butane is gonna boil, but even if it's not, you're still at negative pressure because of this. And like I've showed you, water boiling in a fucking vacuum, butane's boiling point is gonna lower like crazy while it's in a vacuum. So you have it sucking, you know, up as much as 25 inches of mercury. So that's a pretty deep vacuum pulling. This right here is very important. This keeps you from getting your $1,100 pump fucked up, and, you know, keeps you from sucking any liquid butane that, if it's liquid, if it foamed up, if your butane, you know, when it's foaming in the Pyrex, if it foamed up this line, it has Earl in it. You know, if your butane, if you're getting liquid butane up here, it's got Earl in it. Okay, the reason that Earl stays down there is because the liquid's a gas. I mean, the butane becomes a gas and comes up this line. So if for any reason the liquid butane stays a liquid and comes up this, and yes, this will be elevated. Giddy Up gave me that tip. It will hit this filter. It's some kind of micro something filter, and it makes no liquids go through it. So it keeps it to where it won't suck no liquid. It'll, I don't know if it kicks a pump, whatever it does, no liquid comes up into here. So that's a safety mechanism, whatever the hell. So yeah, Jameson, sorry, I did get this, so no problems there. Find another problem though if you want. But yeah, so after it goes through that, goes up down here, and now, so vacuum, now it's gone through the pump, now we're under pressure. Now that we're under pressure, it doesn't matter that the butane's above its boiling point, because pressurized, just like in the can, we're also above butane's boiling point. Listen, it's liquid. You know why it's liquid? Thanks, dude, for telling me, because it's pressurized. It's under pressure in that can, so the boiling point raises, just like a pressure cooker. I think the dude explained it in my video someone explained in my comments like that. When I was saying it was oxygen, I was wrong. It's the pressure that it's under. So yeah, just like a pressure cooker, water will boil above 212 in a pressure cooker. That's why we use them. So it goes up there, and then there's two ways to go about it. There's one called recirculating shower, and that's when you have this just tightened enough to make it to where it gets up to 100 psi in this line, and the reason it's doing that is so the butane is sure to become a liquid again. And this actually, these parts actually freeze. If you hold it, it's cold because the butane becoming a liquid. And then, you know, that line right down there is sealed off, so the butane's not going to come back down here. It's actually just going to go right across. Remember when I said 5 cans for a pound? What? It's going to go right across and back. And you can go as long as you want. You can pump that same 5 cans through that same weed over and over and over until you've got everything. Okay, I'm not going to be doing that. The way I'll be using it is, to start, I'll be using about 150 to 200 grams and then doing what's called shower recovery shower. And that's just from the instructions. So that's the words in the instructions. For what I'll be doing is the extraction and then recover it all to my tank. And the way I would be doing that is leaving these valves open and putting this on ice. Okay, I mean, and also I could get it to a vacuum before I do that and all that. But yeah, so that's the gist of it, you know, to kind of show you what I was talking about with being at a full vacuum. You know, because the gauge, it's kind of hard to tell when it's at a full vacuum, but from using my pumps and being familiar with how they work, I'll show you, and you guys will go, oh, I see. So I hook the line up like so, right down here. I've got the rest of the system open. I can close it off like this, and now I'm only vacuuming the tank, which I have upside down in ice, because if you put it in, I guess you can do it at room temp. Then if you put it in ice, the only thing that's going to happen is the molecules will contract even more. But if you add it in ice when you get it and then let it heat up, you lose some vacuum. Just like a basketball, you know, or a tire that's outside when it's cold. You know how it loses some pressure and then it gets all hot out and the basketball is all really hard? It's because your molecules are compressing and contracting. And you might remember that from 4th grade, but I just relearned it to you. But yeah, so got both of these open. Down here, got it open to the pump, okay? Now here's how I know that I'm at a full vacuum. It takes a while. I'm not going to do it, but... Okay, now you hear the way the pump sounds? Now I'm going to seal the pump off. So from this hose, it's sealed off. You guys know that sound. That's the pump sealed off at a full vacuum, okay? So when I'm going like this, and I've got my gauge up to 30 Hg, and I seal it off, if the pump doesn't make a different sound, then I'm at a full vacuum. So I'll go ahead and do it. I'll go ahead and take it to a full vacuum for you and show you what I mean. While I'm doing this, I have both of these open. These are all the way open, both sides. I hope to use this thing like this week or something. I'm going to do it with like trim and make some edible oil. So you can see we're about 25 inches of mercury right here. Someone saw my picture on Facebook and I think he thought I was trying to measure how deep of a vacuum I was at with this. No, I was just trying to make sure there was no leaks. According to the instructions, to know there's no leaks as you pump it to a full vacuum, you wait for 2 minutes, and if it's still at 30 inches of mercury, there's no leaks. Okay, I let it pump, I stayed pumped up all night. It didn't adjust, it didn't move at all. And I had it leak. I leaked it on purpose. I unscrewed this. It gets back to full atmospheric pressure, like in 2 seconds. So it's not like there was a slow leak. If there was a slow leak, it would have gone down. But you hear how my pump sounds like it's almost done? Well, it's not. Listen, I'll seal it off, like I said. See? So it's not at a full vacuum yet. My pump's still working. Not working? Working. So, yeah, you can see I'm almost there. As soon as that pump, the last, inch of mercury takes a good, 30 seconds or so to get to. This is probably like a 5 or 10 gallon worth of air to evacuate. So we're almost to a full vac. But yeah, that's how I know I'm at a full vac. I'm not really tripping on these gauges. I'm tripping on the sound the pump makes. Because I've used it. See? It's at a full vac. open it, it's not. So yeah, we're almost there. You guys get the picture on how I know. Some dude said to get a digital micron meter. Yes, I totally agree. When you're purging your oil, definitely do that and understand. Try to figure out how deep of a vacuum your pump's pulling. But when you're just doing your closed unit like this, really, there's no reason to be at the deepest vacuum you can be. Even if you're at, 25 inches of mercury, if it's got a leak, it'll leak. So, yeah. And now that I am getting it to a full vacuum, the whole reason that you do this is because the oxygen, the parts per million of oxygen in the system is so low that it couldn't feed a flame. If there was any kind of ignition, anything to ignite any kind of flame in there, it couldn't. So the only way for you to blow up with this is it would have to leak, and then you'd have to have something that would ignite it. Now, if there's something that would ignite it already, then blasting openly, you're automatically going to get blown up. So the only way that this can be as dangerous as blasting openly is if it fails. So before it fails, it's already safer. So I don't know how, if someone thinks this is more dangerous than blasting openly, I don't get it. Because when you're blasting openly, you're already exposed to those elements. I mean, if you use this in the same conditions that you blast openly in, it can only be safer. If you're outside where you normally blast, how could this be more dangerous? I mean, that's beyond me, but my only knock on closed loop systems is the quality of the oil they make, okay? In general, people with closed loop systems make shitty oil, okay? That's not always true. I've actually hit some really good shit. Shout out to Canafarms. He had some Durban Poison. I think it was an Intane run even, and it was done in a passive closed loop where you're actually heating and cooling the tanks. No pump. You're actually heating and cooling to get the butane to transfer back and forth. And that was fired. But okay, now you're hearing the pump. So now we're at a full vacuum. Alright, so I seal it off, and then I kill the pump. Okay, the pump's killed. Add a full vacuum. Okay, now I can unscrew this thing from here. And the reason to do that is so I don't get any oxygen in the lines whatsoever, because I've got this can tapper. And I screw this bitch on right here. And it, just like this, has the valve stem things. And you see right here, that little, on the end of these, the bent end, has the thing to push it in. The straight end down there doesn't have anything to push in the valve stem thing. This side does. So I screw that on to the 1/4 inch. The 1/3 inch stays sealed because it doesn't, it's got the valve stem thing on there. This fits different size cans. This is the size that our butane cans come in, but if you have anything different, these are for automotive shit. This wasn't designed for a butane tank. These are things that already exist. I know someone's gonna comment and go, that's from AutoZone. No shit. Actually, it's from the Yellow Jacket store, if you wanna be more specific, but every part here is from the Yellow Jacket store except for this pump, which it might even be from that store, but it's not a Yellow Jacket product. And then the filter. I think the filter might be a Yellow Jacket product too. But anyway, what I do, okay, everything here is at a full vacuum. The amount of oxygen in there is so low, it's fucking, nothing's gonna happen. And let's remember, yes, the vacuum does go away from the butane evaporating in there, but the vacuum going away is because the butane becoming a gas, and like I was talking about, molecules expanding. When the butane becomes a gas, it's not making oxygen. So that displaced vacuum is not oxygen, it's butane gas. It's not, fueled by any oxygen or anything. So yeah, but down here, so what you would do is you'd pop the first can and let the butane run through the line until it's to here. And the reason you're doing that is so the oxygen in the line is displaced and you're not putting any more oxygen in the tank. And then you'd hook it up to here with butane running out and everything, Hook it up like that. And then you would pull this, release this, having this side closed so it doesn't go into, actually no, you can actually have it go into the whole system. It don't matter because the pump's going to recirculate and it'll end back up in here anyways. So yes, you can have it open, you can have this on ice so butane goes in the tank and up there and down in the column. You could even have the tank closed off so it only goes to the column and starts the beginning of your extraction, and then fire up the pump and it's just going to start it circulating. You can close the blue side and ice this to get it to all go back into here. So 20-minute video, no smoking. Sorry, people who only want to watch me smoke. But if you wanted to learn about this system, you just did. So, alright guys, talk to you later. Peace.